friends and saying, all right, we got to go. The biggest thing is Bitcoin coming to Cardano. Guys, this was personal for me. And I almost cried when I saw the zero knowledge transaction happen. I didn't believe it when I first saw it. So what the Bitcoin operating system people did, this is Ada and Yago's people, and I think Sergio Lerner and a few others had some of the preliminary ideas about this, is they figured out how to embed using Taproot into the Bitcoin blockchain an ability to install zero knowledge proofs. Now, what this does is it actually gives a brain and eyes to Bitcoin. What that means is you can now trustlessly connect Bitcoin to other ecosystems. So the whole hybrid application model opens up. There's $1.3 trillion of Bitcoin. There's over 100 million users. It's one of the biggest markets in the world. And Cardano is the native touch point because we're both UTXO systems. It's exceedingly easy to connect these two systems and develop these two systems. So what does that mean? It means Bitcoin can flow into Cardano, and with Babel fees coming next year, they will be able to pay transaction fees in Bitcoin. Under the hood, ADA is being consumed, but there's markets that, so it creates demand for ADA. And basically means you get a DeFi experience for the first time ever with Bitcoin. So all the NFT projects in Cardano can be purchased with Bitcoin, all the DEXs, all the DeFi applications, these types of things. That's more liquidity than Ethereum and Solana combined. And that bridge is there. So I got so excited about it. The minute I said that, I said, Bitcoin Education Project is back. I haven't really seriously looked at and studied Bitcoin in like almost 9 years. And I read advancement here and there, but I said, I don't read the code. I don't look at that stuff. Why now? I actually bought the 3rd edition of Andreas Antonopoulos' Mastering Bitcoin book. I bought it today. I'm emailing friends and saying, all right, we got to go through the code. Let's do a reading party. It's going to be some fun. We're going to start tearing into things. I'm going to redo my course, Bitcoin and How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love Crypto. And then I'm also going to set up a website for it. And we're going to start Aiken training for Bitcoin developers. And we're going to work with Maestro because they do hybrid app infrastructure. So they support Bitcoin and Cardano. And you can basically deploy a Bitcoin style application now and use Cardano smart contracts and eventually Midnight for privacy. So it'll all roll up together as one big system. So,
ooh, I hadn't even thought about that. Adding Midnight into it. So that's a privacy layer for Bitcoin.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it's all routed through Cardano, yo. So this is going to be my fun thing for 2025.
I feel like this hasn't been well communicated yet, Charles.
Well, it just got announced at the summit, and I had one meeting with Ed on because we were talking about Midnight in Boss, but yeah, they got the bridge working. So there's going to be a little cleanup that's required, and it won't reach its full power until next year. But there's a lot of building we got to do, and there's a lot of infrastructure that has to come into place. So that's huge, absolutely huge, gargantuan for Cardano. It's probably the biggest news item we've ever had, and also means we can start expanding our dApps to include Bitcoin collateral. For example, JED can be not only collateralized by ADA, but you can also collateralize JED by Bitcoin. And perhaps they could figure out a way to even offer a yield to Bitcoin denomination. So look at that. Imagine that, Bitcoin having a native algorithmic stablecoin that's Bitcoin backed. Oh yeah, there's some good shit, man. That's cooking with oil.
Yeah, I mean, I'm over here as a developer. I'm just itching. I want to get my hands on this because, like I was talking earlier about how our protocol is like very specifically unique to the UTXO model and especially EUTXO with our whole state threatening system. And so I think getting access to all those Bitcoin maxis, all the Bitcoin players, and getting them to be able to come in and bid on auctions on Cardano, and getting them to see the way that we use the UTXO model in like just a much cleaner way than is possible on Bitcoin, I think is going to be huge.
This is the death of Bitcoin maximalism, and there's going to be the exile of the Silers and the Kaisers, and the old crew is going to come back because they still hold their Bitcoin and they got billions and billions and billions of dollars of it, but they've just shut off and they don't care anymore. They just buy and hold, right? But all of a sudden you go from this boring passive asset to suddenly an asset that gets to go on a tour around the entire cryptocurrency space. It's kind of like tourism. And the tourists come and they spend their dollars, and it really benefits a country. So the first point of entry for the cruise ships of Bitcoin is Cardano. and they're going to spend some money here. So I'm very, very excited about that. It's going to add a lot of value to Bitcoin, and finally Bitcoin gets to wake up and be in the new era. And I'm glad that I got to see that during my career, because I started with Bitcoin. I started very, very early in the days. Bitcoin was worthless, and we had all these dreams, mission, and I got deeply disillusioned and bitter and disenfranchised, and I just hated the conferences and the maximalism and the everything but Bitcoin is shit. But there were some people who kept the dream, they wanted to innovate, and they figured out a way to be able to put a brain into Bitcoin. It's a very indirect, very difficult, and God bless those guys. They worked on it for years and years and years and years to do very simple things that would only take a few weeks on Cardano. But they got it done. And now we can bring that in. The other thing is the rollups we're going to be able to do on Cardano now that we have Plutus V3 with the UTXO model are trustless and incredible. They're so fast. And rolling up outputs is just magic. And then also we got partner chains turning on. The alpha framework is in version 1.0. It's evolving very rapidly. We got Midnight launching very soon. It's already in testnet. We launched that October 1st, and it's rapidly evolving. It's just about to go through its first hard fork to add a public ledger with a private ledger. We're getting all these partners to build on it. And wow, this is where the $20 trillion of real world assets are going to come. Plus Hydra's waking up, guys. Holy shit. You see Doom Hydra? I'll tell you the next thing I'm going to do. I'm going to break the news right here. Captain Bob's a good man. And all you guys listening, I'm going to break the news right here. The next thing I'm going to do after we do Hydra, the whole death match for Doom, is we're going to try to get a Nintendo emulator working on Hydra. So you can play any Nintendo, any Super Nintendo, these types of games on freaking Hydra. How about that?
Now we're talking.
Yeah, now we're
That's very interesting. Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential there for like real world use case with speedrunning community, where like you have everything recorded on chain and like real verification there. I think there's a lot. I think that's awesome.
And that's a massive community.
Mm-hmm.
And you can launch it from your crypto wallets. And here's the thing is that Gummy Worm is a protocol that Pi's been developing for super high throughput. We're going to put it into our innovation pipeline. So just the same way we're doing the innovations engineering with Babel fees and recursive snarks and doing that with Laos, we're going to get Gummy Worm in there and the rollups in there as well. Because I said we got to make 2025 the year of Hydra and get Hydra into everybody's infrastructure, Mithril into everybody's infrastructure. So it's coming together. It really is. The dream is there. Like we paid so much attention as an ecosystem to the first principles and the foundational concerns, and now we're opening things up. The new Cardano node's underway too. There's already a large architecture group working on it, bringing the community together. It's going to be an event-based architecture, polyglot node, service-oriented, so you can actually plug in Rust modules and Haskell modules and other languages like TypeScript and Go. So suddenly everybody just brings their functionality there. That's how the world is moving. We learned a ton from Firefly. We even hired one of their architects. So there's a lot of really good ideas that are in that supernode idea. And now bring those into Cardano, our development speed will speed up. We're really getting it done. Paris, fast finality. That's out of prototyping. It's in the SIP stage. Now we're talking scopes of work, getting firms ready to implement that. We're firing on all cylinders, man.